Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're attempting something pretty ambitious. We're trying to chart a career path that's so incredibly varied, so, well, complex, it almost forces you to rethink what a character actor even is.
Exactly. We are talking about arguably one of the ultimate chameleons in the business.
David Krumholtz?
David Krumholtz, yeah. An actor who can just slip seemingly effortlessly from playing, a fantasy creature to a Nobel laureate.
Yeah.
It's quite the journey.
It really is. And he's been doing it for a long time. Born May 15th, 1978, in New York City, active since '92.
Right. But the real hook, the thing that makes his career so fascinating to dive into, is just the sheer extremity of the genres he's navigated over, 3 decades now?
Yeah, and that dynamic, you see it immediately when you just look at two of his maybe most recognizable roles. On one hand, okay, you've got the guy who basically cemented himself in holiday movie history for, generations of kids and adults.
Bernard, the head elf.
Bernard from the Santa Claus movies, perpetually sarcastic, slightly wound up, super organized, pure family comedy, pure fantasy.
Absolutely pure holiday magic, you could say. But then you track that same career, fast forward a couple of decades later. And that same actor is getting serious critical praise, sharing ensemble awards for playing a real person, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Isidore Isaac Rabi.
In Oppenheimer, no less. Christopher Nolan's huge biographical drama from 2023.
The distance between those two roles, think about it. The North Pole workshop and the labs at Los Alamos during the Manhattan Project, it's just staggering.
So that journey, right, from managing elf logistics to being the moral compass for the guy building the atomic bomb, that's what this deep dive is all about.
Yeah, our mission today is basically to figure out how he did it. What were the choices, the strategies that allowed him to pull off these incredible shifts?
How do you go from playing a math genius like Charlie Eppes on network TV for 6 years?
Which was huge, number of years.
Huge, and then turn around and wear heavy full-body prosthetics to play an elderly Jewish woman in a comedy he created.
Gigi does it.
Wait.
Wild.
Or be the stoner sidekick in the Harold and Kumar movies. Or, the sort of prophetic hacker in a cult sci-fi western like Serenity.
And that's just a snapshot. Even listing those few roles, it forces you to look beyond just the credits and think about the career itself. It shows he's not just versatile. He's kind of become indispensable across different genres.
Yeah, it feels like he managed this balancing act, right? Commercial success, but always prioritizing artistic risk somehow.
He really did. So that's what we're diving into. How did David Krumholtz become, arguably, Hollywood's most reliable, most versatile, and maybe, just maybe, one of its most underrated character actors?
Okay, let's do it. Let's start at the beginning. Where does this all come from? That New York City background seems pretty important.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Krumholtz was born and raised in Queens, New York City. And you really need to understand this context because it seems to lay the groundwork for his whole sort of pragmatic working artist approach.
He described it himself, didn't he, as very working class, almost poor.
Exactly. This wasn't a family with, deep roots in the arts or Hollywood connections. This sounds like it was built on hustle, on grit.
His parents' jobs kind of underline that. His dad, Michael, a postal worker. His mom, Judy, a dental assistant.
Yeah, it points towards, like you said, stability, hard work, rather than glamour.
And the immigrant story is strong there, too.
Very strong. Paternal grandparents came over from Poland. And his mother's story is even more immediate. She emigrated from Hungary in 1956.
Right after the Hungarian Revolution.
Yeah. So this is a family narrative shaped by resilience, by starting over. You can almost see echoes of that in the professional risks he'd take later on.
He went through the NYC public school system, PS 196, Halsey Junior High, a bit of Forest Hills High. But the really wild part is how he got started professionally. It wasn't planned at all.
Completely accidental, by his own account. He was 13, just tagged along with some friends to an open audition.
For a Broadway play, no less. Conversations with My Father in 1992.
And boom, he lands the role of young Charlie, his Broadway debut, just like that. It suggests this raw, natural talent that kind of skipped the usual training path and threw him right into the deep end.
And what a deep end. Debuting alongside Jason Biggs, who was also making his debut, but also acting with established pros like Judd Hirsch and Tony Shalhoub.
Imagine the learning curve there.
Right.
13 years old. That kind of intense live stage training, it shapes you differently than just starting in film, I think.
For sure. And it clearly paid off fast because he transitioned into film almost immediately after that.
Right away. 1993, he's co-starring with Michael J. Fox in Life with Mikey. Even got a Young Artist Award nomination for it. He clearly took to the camera quickly.
And then for so many of us, especially if you grew up in the 90s, he became unforgettable that same year.
Joel Glicker.
Joel Glicker in Addams Family Values, this sort of goth, cynical, allergic to everything kid at Camp Chippewa, opposite Christina Ricci's Wednesday.
Perfect casting. He nailed that awkward, smart-mouth outsider thing. Great comedic timing, even then.
But the role that really put him on the map early on, and the one that sets up that whole contradiction we started with,
Has to be Bernard.
Bernard the Elf,
Yeah.
the Santa Claus, 1994, sarcastic, efficient, kind of the stressed-out middle manager of the North Pole.
Yeah, that role got a ton of attention, critically and from audiences. And it just stuck. It became his defining role for a whole generation of kids, and honestly, adults too.
What's interesting about Bernard, though, is how long that character has lasted in his career. He came back for the Santa Claus 2 in 2002.
Right.
He actually missed the Santa Claus 3 in 2006 because of a scheduling conflict.
Which tells you something about how busy he was becoming with other projects by then.
Exactly. But then, 20 years after the first movie, he reprises the role for the Disney Plus series The Santa Clauses in 2022.
That's a serious commitment to a character over decades. It's pretty rare.
So what does that signal? Is it just pragmatism? Like,
Huh.
okay, this role is beloved, it provides stability, keeps me recognizable.
I think it's definitely smart career management. Bernard is like, well, like insurance, in a way. It keeps him in the public eye, offers that commercial stability, which then maybe gives him the freedom to take bigger risks on smaller, artier projects, the kind of projects that build his reputation as a serious actor.
Makes sense, because during that same early period, he was also trying to get a foothold in TV.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite stick initially.
Yeah, the industry seemed interested, but maybe didn't know quite where to put him long term. He did that short-lived sitcom Monty with Henry Winkler in '94.
I vaguely remember that.
Blink and you missed it. He did guest spots, like on Law & Order in '93.
Yeah.
And he was in a couple of pilots that didn't go, like Chicago Suns in '97 with Jason Bateman and The Closer in '98 with Tom Selleck.
So the interest was there, but maybe the right vehicle hadn't come along yet for his particular, blend of smarts and dry humor.
Exactly. Which brings us to a really key moment in his strategy, I think. The late '90s. This is where you see him making a very clear, very conscious effort to move beyond that kid actor or elf actor label.
He starts pivoting towards serious independent film.
Precisely. It's a make-or-break move for a lot of young actors. He pops up in Ang Lee's The Ice Storm in 1997. That's a heavy, complex drama.
Right. And then Slums of Beverly Hills in '98, alongside Natasha Lyonne and Alan Arkin, another critically respected indie.
These weren't blockbuster moves. They were artistic statements. He was telling the industry, look, I can handle serious dramatic material.
But he balanced that seriousness perfectly because right after those, 1999, he lands a key role in a massive teen hit.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Michael Eckman.
Yes, the guy obsessed with Bianca Stratford. That movie was huge culturally. It put him right in the mix with that whole generation of rising stars, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles.
So he hits the mainstream teen zeitgeist. But then look what he does immediately after that. Same year, 1999.
What was it?
He plays Yusul in Barry Levinson's Liberty Heights.
Ah, okay. Much heavier. Much heavier. Yusul is this young Jewish guy, really conflicted, struggling with identity, assimilation, morality in 1950s Baltimore. It's a deep, dramatic, character-driven part.
So it's not just taking the role, it's a statement again. It's about showcasing depth, tackling culturally specific, serious themes.
Exactly. He follows up the big teen comedy smash with this really thoughtful, grounded, dramatic performance.
That dual approach hitting the mainstream, then immediately anchoring himself back in serious drama, feels like the blueprint for his whole career, doesn't it?
I think it really is. It sets the template for basically everything that comes next.
Okay, so that groundwork, especially that Yusul role, leads us into what you could call his defining decade, maybe, roughly 2001 to 2011. This is where he seems to really solidify himself.
Yeah, as both a potential leading man in certain contexts and as that go-to, super reliable ensemble player.
The Yusul role definitely acted as a calling card, it sounds like.
For sure. It caught the eye of Edward Burns, who cast him in Sidewalks of New York in 2001. Krumholtz played Biddy Baszler, who's kind of romantic but also a bit obsessive. Again, a nuanced role, not just a stereotype.
And he was aiming higher too, right? Trying for lead roles?
Yeah, he actually landed his first sort of billed theatrical lead in a rom-com called You Stupid Man in 2002, opposite Mila Jovovich.
I don't remember that one.
Well, it never actually got a theatrical release in the U.S., which is maybe why. But the point is, the industry saw him as having that potential to carry a movie.
But the real game changer, the role that really shifted how people saw him, wasn't a movie at all.
Well, it was a TV film on FX in 2002. Big Shot. Confessions of a Campus Bookie.
Okay, right. Based on a true story.
Very true and pretty gritty. The 1994 Arizona State basketball point shaving scandal. Krumholtz played Benny Silman, the college kid, the bookie, who ended up going to jail for it.
That's a serious departure. High-stakes drama, moral gray areas.
And that's why Big Shot was so important for him. It was miles away from the elf or the funny sidekick. Critics really praised his performance. It was grounded, powerful. He wasn't just playing a character. He was embodying a real person involved in a major scandal.
So it proved he could carry that kind of weight.
Yeah.
That he was more than just comic relief.
Exactly. It definitively established him as, like the critics said, not just a sidekick. That was crucial for avoiding being typecast, especially with Bernard the Elf still looming large.
But, okay, the reality for a working actor, even one proving dramatic chops, is you still need to work, right? So he's balancing these serious bids with more commercial supporting roles.
Oh, absolutely. And while he's doing Big Shot, he's also about to lock into another iconic, though very different, recurring role.
Goldstein.
Enter Goldstein, from the Harold and Kumar movies. He played their neighbor and buddy in all three films, 2004, 2008, 2011.
That role gave him this whole other fan base, right? Cemented his place in stoner comedy legend, great ensemble chemistry there.
Totally. But again, look at the juggling act. While he's becoming Goldstein for the comedy crowd, he's also appearing in a serious historical biopic.
Ray. The Ray Charles story, 2004. He played Milt Shaw, Ray's manager.
It just speaks volumes about how casting directors saw him. Not as one type, but as this adaptable pro they could trust to bring authenticity, whether it was a period drama or a raunchy comedy.
And then right smack in the middle of that, 2005, he jumps into a completely different sandbox again.
Sci-fi. Joss Whedon's Serenity.
Mr. Universe. The hacker, the info broker, living out in space with his companion robot. Such a memorable, almost tragic character in that film.
A total cult favorite role. And think about the demands there. It's that stylized Whedon dialogue delivered super fast within this really specific sci-fi world.
So in the space of like 2 years, he goes from historical drama, Ray, to broad stoner comedy, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, to stylized sci-fi Serenity.
That's the signature move right there. That's the Krumholtz versatility in action.
He really became this like Swiss Army knife actor for casting directors.
Pretty much. You need someone reliable for your ensemble. Someone who can instantly ground a scene or provide the right tone. Call Krumholtz, whether it's the 1950s jazz scene or a futuristic spaceship.
And he sprinkled in some great cameos, too, during this time. Popping up in Superbad in 2007 as Benji Austin.
Hilarious scene.
And Schwartzberg in Walk Hard. The Dewey Talk story. Small parts, but in movies that everyone saw.
It keeps you relevant, keeps you working with interesting people.
But the absolute centerpiece of this whole decade, the gig that really anchored him professionally and financially.
Had to be number 3's.
Number 3, on CBS, ran for 6 seasons, 2005 to 2010. That was a huge commitment.
A total watershed moment for his career, definitely. He was the co-lead of a major network procedural, playing Charlie Eppes.
The brilliant mathematician who helps his FBI agent brother solve crimes using, like, actual complex math.
Yeah, it was part of that wave of smart procedurals that were big back then, like House. It made being brainy kind of cool for primetime.
What do you think the main challenge was playing a character like Charlie for 118 episodes?
Well, probably 2 things. First, the technical stuff. He had to convincingly deliver all that really complex mathematical jargon week after week and make it sound natural, like he actually understood it.
Which is hard.
Incredibly hard. And second, he had to keep the character human. Charlie could easily have just been the quirky genius stereotype. But Krumholtz grounded him, gave him believable family dynamics, made him relatable despite the off-the-charts IQ.
And critics noticed that. Matt Roush at TV Guide called it probably his best TV work to date. It really solidified that image of him as this smart, maybe slightly eccentric, but ultimately very grounded actor who could carry a show.
And that long run, that stability, it must have given him a platform, both financially and professionally, to then think about what came next, maybe take more risks.
Although even before Number Thirds, he'd shown he could do serious TV drama. You mentioned he did a stint on ER.
Yeah, a 3-episode arc playing Paul Sabricki, a patient dealing with schizophrenia. So he was always seeking out those challenging roles, even in guest spots.
But coming off a hit like Number Threes, finding the next big thing is always tough, right?
Always. It's the classic challenge after a long procedural run.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you see that reflected in his career right after Number Threes ended. There's a period with a few projects that didn't quite take off.
Like that Taxman pilot in 2010.
Right. And then the Playboy Club in 2011, which got canceled really fast after just 3 episodes.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's just a reminder that even for a super reliable, talented actor, you're still dependent on the show itself connecting with an audience.
Okay, so that brings us into the 2010s, post-Number Threes, post-network anchor. This feels like a period of real reinvention for him, moving away from network TV towards maybe more auteur-driven stuff, prestige cable, and some really bold transformations.
I think strategic reassessment is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
After those quick cancellations, like another show called Partners in 2012.
With Michael Urie, yeah. Didn't last long either.
Right. After those, he seemed to lean more into high-quality recurring guest roles on shows that already had critical buzz, maybe less time commitment, but more artistic cachet.
Like on the Newsroom, Aaron Sorkin's show.
Exactly. He played Dr. Jacob Jacobi for 3 episodes, and he did a longer arc, 7 episodes, as Josh Mariner on The Good Wife.
So he is embedding himself in that prestige TV world. His presence starts to signal a certain level of quality for the show itself.
Yeah, he becomes that actor where you see him pop up and you think, okay, this show is serious. But the most radical move, the thing that really showed he wanted to break molds and maybe take control, that was Gigi Does It in 2015.
Okay, Gigi. This was the IFC comedy series where he played the main character, Gigi, an elderly Jewish woman.
Yep, head-to-toe prosthetics, bodysuit, the whole 9 yards, hours in makeup every day.
What does a commitment like that signal, especially coming off the relative safety of network TV just a few years earlier?
It signals, I think, a real desire to shatter any lingering typecasting and just fundamentally challenge himself as a performer. The sheer physical and vocal transformation required for Gigi is immense.
It's about as far from Charlie Eppes as you can possibly get.
Exactly. But here's the really crucial part. He didn't just star in Gigi Does It. He co-created it. He wrote it.
Ah, okay. So he's taking ownership.
Completely. This wasn't just an acting gig. It was him stepping up, saying, I have stories to tell, I can create, I can write, I can do broad physical comedy. He was demanding to be seen as more than just the guy who could deliver technical dialogue convincingly.
That's a huge leap. From math genius solving crimes to, well, to Gigi. That kind of artistic boldness, did it open other doors? Maybe with filmmakers who appreciate risk.
It seems like it might have, because after Gigi, he starts collaborating with some really major filmmakers, specifically the Coen brothers.
Right. He was in Hail Caesar in 2016.
As communist screenwriter, #4, which is such a Coen brothers character name.
Perfect.
And then he was in their anthology film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, in 2018, playing a Frenchman in one of the saloon segments.
Working with the Coens, even in smaller roles like that, it gives you serious industry cred, doesn't it?
Oh, immense currency. It basically tells everyone that you're trusted by filmmakers at the absolute highest level.
And he kept being that reliable guy in big ensemble casts, too. He was in The Judge in 2014 playing Mike Catan. He was in Woody Allen's Wonder Wheel in 2017 as Jake.
He even did voice work in Sausage Party, the R-rated animated movie from 2016, voiced Kareem Abdul-Lavash.
He literally covers every corner of the industry, from Broadway stages to animated food items.
He really does. And we shouldn't forget, his skill in ensemble work has been recognized before. He actually won a Hollywood Film Award for Ensemble of the Year back in 2006 for the film Bobby.
Oh, right. The ensemble film about RFK's assassination.
Yeah, and he was nominated for a SAG Award for that same ensemble. He's the actor you want on your team when you need every single part to work perfectly together.
But arguably, his most significant, most sustained dramatic work in this later period wasn't in film. It was a return to TV, but this time, prestige cable, specifically HBO.
Yeah, and this is where you really see the difference between network and premium cable drama. He landed a major role on The Deuce.
David Simon's show about the rise of the porn industry in New York.
Exactly. From 2017 to 2019. He played Harvey Wasserman, an adult filmmaker. Started as recurring, got bumped up to series regular for the final season. appeared in 20 episodes total.
And those David Simon shows, they demand a specific kind of realism, complexity, nuanced dialogue.
Completely different skill set than, say, number three's. It's gritty, it's morally ambiguous, it's long-form character study.
And that work seemed to lead directly into another big HBO project for him.
The Plot Against America in 2020, the adaptation of the Philip Roth novel.
Right, the alternate history series. He was a series regular in that too, playing Monty Levin across all 6 episodes.
Yeah, tackling really heavy themes again. The character work in shows like The Deuce and Plot Against America requires a depth and consistency that's, frankly, hard to maintain. He also popped up more recently in White House Plumbers on HBO in 2023.
He's really carved out a niche for himself in that top tier of television drama. But then something really poignant happens. He comes full circle, in a way, back to his roots.
Back to the stage. Back to Broadway.
After decades away, he returns in 2022 for a major production. Tom Stoppard's play, Leopoldstadt.
A huge deal, not just returning to Broadway, where his career literally started at age 13, but doing it in this incredibly significant, semi-autobiographical play about the Holocaust by one of the world's greatest living playwrights.
He played Herman Mertz. What was the reception like?
Really strong. He earned a Drama League Award nomination for Outstanding Performance. Variety called his performance vulnerable and powerful.
Taking on a role like that, so deeply rooted in Jewish history and identity, especially given his own family background, it feels like more than just a job.
It feels like an artistic homecoming, yeah. And maybe a deliberate choice to connect with something deeply personal after decades navigating the, often less personal demands of Hollywood, moving from the business side to pure artistic expression.
And that intense dramatic work on stage seems to flow right into his most high-profile film role in years.
Oppenheimer, 2023. Playing Isidore Isaac Rabi.
Nolan's film. Huge ensemble cast.
And Rabi, though technically a supporting role, is strategically vital in that film. He's Oppenheimer's friend, he's a fellow physicist, but crucially, he's kind of Oppenheimer's conscience.
He's the one who doesn't join the Manhattan Project directly, right? He maintains that ethical distance from the bomb itself.
Exactly. He represents that moral counterbalance throughout the story. And Krumholtz's performance really landed. He shared the Gold Derby Award for Ensemble Cast for the film.
It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? The same actor who gave us Bernard the Elf's cynical eye rolls is now embodying the moral scrutiny surrounding the creation of the atomic bomb.
That's the arc. That's the versatility we're talking about. But to really get the full picture of how someone sustains that kind of career, that relentless drive, we have to touch on the personal context.
Yeah.
Especially the health challenges he faced.
Right, because that reinvention decade we talked about, the 2010s, it didn't start easy for him personally. Let's maybe start with the positive anchor first, his family.
Okay. Yeah, he married actress Vanessa Britting, her professional name. She's Vanessa Almeida Gunin, back in May 2010. Big wedding at the Plaza Hotel in New York.
And they have 2 children.
Yes, a daughter and a son, both born in the 2010s.
And that family focus maybe prompted a big life change, too. A move.
It seems like it. In 2017, they relocated, moved from Los Angeles back east, settling in Wyckoff, New Jersey.
Back closer to his New York roots.
Feels significant, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with him returning to Broadway a few years later. Like a geographical shift mirroring an artistic one, maybe moving towards things that felt more grounded or personally resonant.
But before that move, right at the beginning of that decade, he faced a really serious health crisis.
A major one. July 2011, right after Number Threes had ended, while he was sort of in that uncertain phase professionally, he was diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Wow. That puts everything in perspective.
Absolutely.
Right.
He started radioactive iodine treatment about 5 months later, and thankfully the outcome was positive. He was declared cancer-free by the end of January 2012.
Facing something like cancer, especially during a period when your career is already in flux, it must change how you approach things.
You'd have to think so. It makes those subsequent creative choices, like taking the huge risk on Gigi Does It, look less like just trying something random and more like maybe a conscious decision to prioritize work that felt artistically fulfilling, challenging, maybe even necessary, over just chasing the next stable gig.
The urgency probably shifts. The what do I really want to be doing question becomes louder.
Exactly. Maybe that explains the drive to create his own material, to tell his own stories in his own way.
There's also another layer to the personal context, something much more recent that he spoke about very candidly.
Yeah, in an interview with the New York Times just in October 2024, he opened up about a different health struggle, this one related to cannabis use.
What did he share?
He talks pretty openly about developing a significant reliance on cannabis and described a really difficult period where it seriously impacted his health. He mentioned losing over 100 pounds at one point, being hospitalized multiple times with severe physical symptoms.
That takes courage to talk about publicly.
Immense courage. He was eventually diagnosed with something called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome.
Okay. And this openness, what does it add to our understanding of his career?
Well, I think it provides crucial context about the pressures involved. The sheer emotional and mental toll of maintaining such a demanding, constantly shifting professional life-switching characters, dealing with the instability between jobs, the public scrutiny can manifest in very real, very intense personal struggles behind the scenes. It's part of that unseen emotional labor we sometimes talk about.
And he also shared that he stopped using marijuana now.
Yes, he confirmed he stopped entirely after the diagnosis and getting treatment, which again points to that resilience we keep seeing. The ability to face a profound challenge, whether it's cancer or addiction or a career crossroads, and make the necessary changes. The guy who plays resilient characters seems to practice it profoundly in his own life, too.
So if we try to wrap this all up, synthesize this incredible 3-decade journey, what's the core theme? What defines the career of David Krumholtz?
For me, it's this unwavering commitment to the truth of the character no matter what. It transcends genre, it transcends physical demands.
He's a deep actor.
Totally. Whether that character needs him to understand and articulate complex math for years like Charlie Eppes, or disappear inside prosthetics like Gigi, or find the cynical heart of an elf like Bernard.
Yeah.
He brings this grounded intelligence, this authenticity every single time.
He really does excel at being that vital supporting piece, doesn't he? The character actor who doesn't just fill a role, but elevates the entire scene, the entire project.
He's never just one note. He often provides the context, the intelligence, sometimes even the moral compass, like we saw with Robbie in Oppenheimer.
His career really proves that long-term success in this business isn't always about being the flashy leading man. It can be about becoming indispensable, being the actor whose versatility means you're never typecast, and whose skill means your absence would be genuinely felt.
Well said. He's built a career on being consistently excellent in wildly inconsistent roles.
So thinking about that range, and especially his recent return to really personal work like Leopoldstadt on Broadway, a role he said helped him reconnect with my own Judaism, it leaves you with a kind of final thought, doesn't it?
What's that?
How does an actor who started out channeling his working-class Queens background on a Broadway stage manage to consistently bring such genuine humanity, such deep context to characters that span literal fantasy, complex history, and cutting-edge science?
That really gets to the heart of it. It makes you wonder about the unseen effort, the emotional heavy lifting required to maintain that kind of fluidity. To be able to mentally and emotionally pivot from playing, say, Goldstein in Harold and Kumar to embodying Herman Mertz facing the Holocaust and Leopoldstadt, or Isidore Rabi grappling with the ethics of the atomic bomb.
The constant shifting of gears must be exhausting.
You'd imagine so.
Yeah.
But Krumholtz's career is kind of a masterclass in how that dedication, that hard-won versatility combined with personal resilience can pay off artistically. It feels like he somehow manages to inject a little piece of that Queen's reality, that groundedness, into every single role, no matter how fantastical or historical.
It makes you think, doesn't it? How does playing someone like Robbie, who carried such immense ethical weight, maybe influence how the actor himself reconciles the intense demands of his own career with his own life, his own well-being? That ongoing negotiation between the public artist and the private person, maybe that's the most compelling story of all.